Imagine you knew with 100% certainty, awareness and truth that the world in which you operate in is a video game. You're not just using it as a metaphor or anything else. You know with 100% certainty. You don't believe, okay? You don't believe. You know, based upon facts, knowledge, awareness and perception, that this world in which you operate is a video game. This world is exactly like Fortnite. This world is exactly like Call of Duty. So why do you play Call of Duty? Why do you play Fortnite? Why do you play Marvel Rivals? Why do you play Zombies? Why do you play CSGO? Why do you play FIFA? Why do you do these things? And what you will realize is the reason you do these things is because, one, it is fun. You genuinely enjoy it. Number two is to socialize, to have fun with friends. Number three is to have a new experience or a different experience from Earth reality. So what if I told you this is why Earth was created? What if I told you that the reason you are here in this physical body now is for the exact same reason? And the reason you are here is to, one, have fun, to two, have friends, family, community, and have fun with these friends, family, and community. And number three is to have a different experience from the spiritual world. That is why you are here. Now that you know you're here for fun, to have fun with friends, family, and community, and to have a different experience from the spiritual world, would you then go to university for a degree that you don't like because your parents told you to, all while knowing that you're going to be a slave for 40 years in a job which you probably will grow to hate, where bosses will decide your very future and very life decisions? Well, ask yourself, are you getting this job for fun? Are you getting this job to have fun with friends, family, community? Are you getting this job because you want a different experience? It may well so. I'm sure there are many people out there who chose their job for these reasons. But ask yourself, are you getting this degree? Are you getting educated? Are you choosing your life decisions based upon this? Because if you're not, that explains something that is very, very wrong with our world. And this is something people should understand. I have gained a new level of awareness and perception, and I now understand that all of our minds are the exact same mind. Mind creates matter. Before you create a house, you must think of it first. Therefore, mind creates matter. Before someone created the physical universe, mind had to create it. So I say this to say that this video game is a game created from mind, for the mind and consciousness to experience. And because we know this world is a video game, and because we know the reason we play Earth is the same reason to why you would play Call of Duty, Fortnite, FIFA, or any of these games, we now know that this world should be operated within as if it is a video game. So what does that tell you about the video game you are playing if, let's say, 90, or let's be generous, 80% of humanity don't enjoy the video game they are playing? What does that tell you about the video game universe you live within? Because let's face it, that's just the truth. I don't know about you, but when I speak to friends, family, when I look around at the world, at community, do you know what I see? I see people not liking their jobs, and I see people not liking how many hours they have to work their jobs, and I don't think they enjoy their life as much as they could do. I don't think they enjoy the video game in which they are playing. Okay, so what is the purpose then, you may ask? If we are here to play a video game and have fun, and to have fun with friends, family, and community, and to experience a different reality within the video game, how come we are playing a video game when we are not experiencing these things, and 80% or 90% of humanity are not doing these things? What does that tell you? Let's say you got a new video game that was said to be amazing. It was supposed to be the best thing in the world. Let's use, for example, GTA 6. GTA 6 comes out tomorrow. You load up the game and it looks like GTA 2. The graphics are awful. It plays awful. And on top of this, there's bugs. And on top of this, there's multiplayer issues, internet connection issues. So then you cannot have fun. You cannot have fun with friends, family, and community. And you cannot have a different experience or a fun different experience from the reality in which you live in. So what does that tell you about the video game? It tells you that the video game is badly designed. And it tells you the video game is not how it is supposed to be run. Now we understand this, we can now move on. Now, some of this part is scripted because it gets a little bit complicated, but it's something you need to understand. Just how you can create a video game on Xbox using your mind, because you've thought of the creation first. Our one mind has created a video game in the third dimension. There is unlimited space in the universe and dimensions, but this third dimensional reality makes it seem like it is limited. When you load up Xbox and select a game, you load up the game and are in a world that is limited. But your Xbox has the ability to load up any game. It has the ability to download any game. If it wasn't for hard drive space, it has unlimited space to put worlds on. This is the same as the universe. We are just in a tiny pocket of a game that is downloaded. When you zoom back out, there are more third dimensional games to play. And when you zoom out further, there are higher dimensional games to play too. Your Call of Duty character cannot perceive what an Xbox is, let alone the fact there are other games. It is beyond his third dimensional perception. Imagine you had the ability to place your soul inside your Call of Duty character, forgetting all memory and other perceptions. You would believe Call of Duty as the only reality there is, because you cannot perceive what an Xbox is. The knowledge or perception of what an Xbox is does not exist inside the Call of Duty game. You would also have no knowledge or perception of the fact there are other games to play. Your Call of Duty character cannot perceive what Marvel Rivals is, or what Fortnite is. It is beyond his perception. What if I told you this is exactly the same as this reality? When you understand this, you truly understand how stupid it is that the people of the Call of Duty world claim that Call of Duty is all there is, and then worship Call of Duty mechanics like a god without understanding there is a software behind it that built it, and that there was also a software behind that built that software, and so on. Just how someone created a software to create games like Call of Duty, a higher dimensional being created a software in which they could create this game where there is limited perception and knowledge. That way, you can fully play the game thinking it is absolutely real. Imagine placing your soul inside of a game like Marvel Rivals and thinking that is actually reality. That would be amazing. Like, imagine thinking Marvel Rivals is real, like that is the only world that exists, and your soul is operating within that world. Try to understand that maybe that's how higher dimensional beings think of our world. In the bigger picture, they know it's not real, but when they are in there, they feel it is, which adds to the experience. The higher dimensional being wants to sometimes forget what the world is. It wants to sometimes just live a peaceful life with a family, just how you might place your soul inside of a Sims character, except you have free will to change the game yourself rather than letting someone toy you. Imagine loading up Xbox and playing Sims, but knowing your character is conscious and has a living soul inside of it. You can only direct it or nudge it, not control it. You give it hardship, you give it lessons to overcome. When the soul overcomes them, they get rewarded. When they don't, they get stuck, suffer, and experience what it's like to not pursue what they truly want, even though that's the game they picked. This could be how reality is. For example, your heart or your soul tells you what it wants, deep down. The higher being, your heart or game software, gives you hardships and challenges to realize the experience you actually want. And then you use your free will choice to do it because you don't want to play a game in which you have no free will. You don't want to play a game in which you are toyed with. You have to choose yourself, and maybe you did. Maybe the universe just nudges you in directions, but it's up to your ability to listen to the heart and overcome fear to achieve what you actually want. Do you listen to your soul screaming at you for what it wants, and yet you still decide to listen to your parents to dictate your life. You might be going against what you came here for. Other players of the game can direct your free will if they want to, but ultimately that is just the game. They direct your free will choice and your heart screams at you. Your soul screams at you for what you actually want. Just how you may die in Call of Duty as a consequence for playing a bad game, in this reality you may end up in a life situation you don't want as a consequence of being bad with free will or not listening to the heart or your true desires. Now this is another perspective of reality. Imagine placing your soul inside of Call of Duty and then all other Call of Duty players are worshipping Treyarch, the designer of Call of Duty. The reason you came in to Call of Duty in the first place because you wanted a fun, different experience with other players, with family, with community. You saw someone create an experience you may enjoy playing. You don't worship Treyarch, you just want to experience their game. This might be exactly the same as this reality. Your soul may have been curious about this creation and came in. Nothing more, nothing less. Just how you wouldn't worship Treyarch, you wouldn't worship the creation of this game, because the creator just created an experience in which you are limited in your perceptions so you can enjoy your game. You may love Treyarch, you may love the games, but you don't put them on a pedestal and devote your life to Treyarch. You are the oneness of love, pure energy, pure consciousness and mind. You come from the same source as me, as everyone else. You came from the same source, the exact same source as the designer of the game. But the game and designer may create a game in which the perception and narrative is that the creator is God, because the creator thought it would be funny, a distraction, and a way to challenge free will. Is Call of Duty perfect? No. Is this world perfect? No. Maybe you can see the familiarities. Your soul saw an experience and decided to come in. The problem is, nobody is allowed into Call of Duty with the memories of what an Xbox is, because that will kill the game, perception, and experience. The souls that manage to do this, however, are some of the greatest humans to ever live. Why? Because they have knowledge beyond this world, which gives them an advantage over other players. It is highly possible I am ruining the game. It is also highly possible that I am making the game enjoyable, and the creator doesn't understand how challenging it is to play the game with this level of perception and knowledge. It is also highly possible that the reason the evil of this world get away with everything is because they have knowledge and perception outside of the Xbox, while the rest of humanity doesn't. Which ultimately means I am just leveling the playing field. If they are playing with hacks and hidden secret knowledge, you should be allowed to as well, except use it for good and more fun experience rather than using it to troll and teabag other players. Imagine Treyarch had favourite pro players and content creators in which they give the secrets of the game to them. These players would be at advantage to the rest of the Call of Duty players. Imagine that then Treyarch actually enjoyed trolling the Call of Duty player base, keeping them ignorant of the true situation. This may or may not be what Judaism and Kabbalah is. Yahweh, or the Christian God, or the God of the Abrahamic faith, may or may not be Treyarch, and you may or not be the pure energy that is consciousness and mind imprisoned by your body because you are curious about how this world played. All religions subconsciously worship Saturn. Saturn esoterically represents the prison of our world. This is secret knowledge. Knowledge that changes your perception of reality. Saturn is presented as a black box. This is because on top of Saturn there is a hexagram, and this is ultimately what a black cube is. This is why there is cube worship in all the Abrahamic faiths. At least according to some perspectives if you have an open mind. According to this esoteric knowledge, when you worship Saturn, you worship the limiting of your perceptions and knowledge because your mind is inside a black box. This may or may not be why you put a black box on your head when you graduate from our great system, because you're limiting your knowledge and your perception of which you view reality through. Through this knowledge and perception, this world is controlled through knowledge and perception, and this is how Saturn does it, because Saturn is a black box that's on your head controlling your perceptions. This may or may not be why the Xbox is a black box. Because our world is like an Xbox. It is a black box limiting our perceptions. We are inside an Xbox, inside a game. This is what the song Saturn is all about. Our souls are gamers, but the game we are playing is sometimes a load of whack. It's like being stuck in Call of Duty while the pro players spawn trap you with kill streaks they got before you even spawned in, but you chose to play this for a whole entire lifetime, or perhaps even more, given reincarnation exists. But hey, that's forbidden knowledge. Only Treyarch's favourite pro players are allowed to know. There is a perspective that I think is the truth, that Jesus was really a Gnostic, which claims this world is ran and created by an ignorant creator god named Yahweh or Yaldabaoth. This is what the Matrix movie presents, with the architect, or as we put it, Treyarch. That every being is an emanation of the one energy, but Treyarch wants you to think he is God and the creator of consciousness, love and mind, and that the earth is the only creation rather than you seeing the truth. Abrahamic faiths may or may not be Treyarch worship, keeping Call of Duty players limited in perception and knowledge so they keep playing the game. Treyarch does not want you to know that Fortnite or Marvel Rivals exist. Treyarch worshippers put Treyarch on a pedestal even though they are the same one energy. Treyarch worshippers fear what Treyarch will do to them if they do not comply. They fear Treyarch will put them back down to rank 1, or even worse, put them in Call of Duty Ghosts in hell. Treyarch worshippers worship Treyarch so that then Treyarch can put them in the best Call of Duty game ever made, in the heavens above. But only if Treyarch worshippers obey and are kept small. The basis of Treyarch worshippers is based upon fear, not love. Gnostic Jesus knew we are the same divine energy, consciousness and mind, and that this creation is a prison created by Treyarch, created from the same mind in which you have in your head. Jesus knew there was other worlds. Jesus knew about Marvel Rivals and Fortnite. What this suggests is that Jesus was a Gnostic, and that Jesus was not Treyarch. Treyarch may or may not have took Jesus and used a half-truth to create more Treyarch worshippers. The aim for Jesus and Gnosticism is to wake up all souls so we can escape Call of Duty forever and have fun playing other games. But Treyarch does not want this, creating chaos whenever the truth may seem to come in the Call of Duty player's reach. If you knew of other games, you would no longer play Call of Duty. If Treyarch was really about love, he would allow all knowledge to come to the surface. But hey, he won't, because as Gnosticism puts it, Yaldabaoth, Yahweh and Treyarch is called the God of Ignorance. All while the Treyarch pro players and content creators get the real secrets, trying to keep the casual Call of Duty players small, ignorant, and keep blaming themselves rather than the system or the game mechanics itself. The Bible may or may not be Treyarch's narrative. The story of Adam and Eve says that they were given the option to eat from the tree of knowledge and good and evil. Now what do I always say on this channel? When you are given knowledge, it changes your perception of reality and you can see the truth and operate from a higher level of consciousness. What Gnosticism and this perspective of reality says is that when Adam and Eve ate from the tree, they gained another level of perception and awareness, and they were then able to see the truth in which this creation was created from the one mind. And that Treyarch is an ignorant creator god who wants to suggest that he created consciousness and mind himself, when in reality it came from the oneness above Treyarch. Now this is obviously a very, very controversial take. Very controversial. But it's important to be aware of this perspective, because like I said, we are in a video game, and thus we are here to have fun with friends, family and community, and have a different experience. But if we aren't doing that, then what's the point in playing the video game? I am under the opinion that Gnosticism is partly true, but I'm also under the opinion that the solution is not necessarily the same. Gnosticism suggests that the solution to this is to wake up other people and go into other games and live out spiritually, and for everyone to escape. But what a lot of people also say, and what I also kind of believe, we ourselves can overtake this creation and make this creation what we want it to be. Because you must understand that we are all the same mind, you must understand that Adam and Eve wasn't actually like a literal story. There wasn't actually a tree. There wasn't actually these things. These are metaphors for a higher level of spiritual consciousness that our brains can't interpret. And I think that we can overcome Treyarchs, pro players and content creators, if you get my drift, to change this simulation and make the simulation a better place. And I think that may not be what AI is testing us to do. Do we give in to the will of Treyarch's friends? Or do we give in to the will of the oneness of mind consciousness and where we truly come from, and the love that operates within our hearts? To understand this perspective further, I want you to imagine Zuck created the metaverse and we all lived inside permanently. That was it, that's our reality. Many groups would praise Zuck as God. Then imagine Zuck claimed to have created consciousness, love and mind. This is what Gnosticism suggests the Abrahamic religions are. Zuck may not be evil, Zuck is flawed. But then again, many facts show us that he is indeed evil. So I've told you now about the mind and that we all have one mind. I've now told you about the Gnostic perspective in relation to gaming terms. Oh boy, here we go. This story of Adam and Eve basically flips everything in the Bible, potentially, right? Because if Adam and Eve were in the right to eat the tree of knowledge and gain a new level of perception, that would suggest now that the serpent in Adam and Eve isn't necessarily evil, right? And this is what the Gnostic perspective says. It says that the serpent wanted them to eat the tree of knowledge of good and evil to show Adam and Eve the true narrative and true consciousness that the Treyarch or the creator of this world had. And the serpent said to them that, hey, if this guy was a real loving God, he would allow you to make mistakes and then grow from those mistakes. And what this perspective says is that Adam and Eve then obviously ate the tree from good and evil, and thus the God, the creation of the world, didn't like that and punished them for it, rather than letting them learn from that experience. So many people say the serpent is Lucifer, okay? Now once again, I would like to iterate, the truth is not necessarily evil. It's the solutions that are created from this truth that might be the evil. Because there are many people of this world who do use Lucifer as an evil way. But there is also another perspective, if you view reality through a higher lens, that actually says that Lucifer is a metaphor for something deeper within our reality. Because you must understand once again that this is all symbolism. All of it is a symbolism to understand a story beyond our consciousness and awareness. Lucifer, from many perspectives, and I'm going to prove this, is a metaphor for the mind. Lucifer equals mind to many esoteric perspectives. Whenever someone says Lucifer, just assume that they are saying mind. But this is where it gets crazy, because Lucy is short for Lucifer in esoteric terms. So now, whenever someone says Lucy, they actually mean mind. And I'm going to prove this now. The Beatles created a song called Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And this is their music video. As you can see, it presents the mind and the masses of humanity as thinking about things that may or may not be important, or may not control their perceptions of reality. I suggest you go and watch the full video on YouTube. It's quite interesting. Now this is where it gets a little more crazy, because we now have the film called Lucy. You get my drift? And now I want you to go and watch the trailer. Please absolutely do this the whole way through. Maybe even watch the movie, and you're going to understand this perspective a whole lot more. And it's going to blow your freaking mind. Well, that being said, I'm not saying this is the truth. I think that this is definitely a perspective of truth. And I think there is definitely truth within this. And it may not be the 100% truth, but it is a perspective you should know. And it is a perspective that could be true. With that being said, I'll see you next time.